Hello everyone. In our last video, we have discussed how grammar is important to get good bands in the IELTS exam. Now in this video, we are going to discuss the 6 grammar rules which are very important, and I'll try to give you some examples so that you're able to understand it and try to use it correctly in your IELTS modules. Now we know that no section of the grammar tests your grammar skills directly, but they play an important part in all the 4 modules. Now if we see the marking criteria, the 25% of your marks is marked on the basis of your grammar. So it is really important in all the 4 modules. Now we have discussed in the last video that what role the grammar plays in all the 4 modules. Now today we will discuss all the 6 rules in detail. Now let's start with the first tense, that is the verb tense. Now there are 2 different type of verb tenses that we'll discuss today. The first is simple present tense. Now simple present tense is basically used when we have to talk about the general, permanent or repeated actions. Let's see an example. The example says, I often read business magazines online. Now this is a repeated action which we use where we use simple present tense to explain it. The second tense is the simple continuous tense. Now this tense is used when we have to focus on the progressive actions, that is what is happening right now. Like I am reading an interesting book. So I am reading this book presently, at the present moment. Now how these verb tenses are important in the IELTS. The simple present tense is important in the IELTS speaking part 1, where the examiner asks questions like what do you do? Do you like shopping? Do you like to take photos? So the probable answer that we give is I work as a software engineer. So here the simple present tense is used. Simple present tense is mostly used in the part 1 questions. Here many students make several errors where they start using continuous tense. So continuous tense is not to be used in the speaking part 1. And the second answer is, do you like to go to shopping? So the answer is, I like to go to shopping. And do you like to take photos? I love taking pictures. So in all these answers, simple present tense is used. And this tense is also used in writing task 1 as well as 2. In the writing task 1, we are mostly given a visual where there are several types of graphs, charts, line graphs and a process chart where we have to explain or we have to do the report writing. We have to report what the visual is telling us. Now let's see an example. Suppose we have to explain a chart, and it says the chart shows the percentage of men and women spending time in household work. So there the simple present tense is used. We will not use the continuous tense because this is not happening at the moment. We are given a time period where we have to report it, and for the present moment where the date is not given, then there the present tense is used. If the date is less than the present date, like the date is less than 2020, then we have to use the past tense, and when the date is somewhere after 2020, there we have to use the future tense. Now many students confuse between simple past and present perfect. It is very easy to understand. Now simple past is used when that action has happened in the past and it has no connection in the present, whereas in the past perfect the action started in the past and it has an effect on the present moment also, or it has started in the past and it is happening in the present also. Now let's see an example of the simple past tense. It says I ate my breakfast with Tony and then we saw a movie. So the person is explaining that he had breakfast with Tony and then they saw a movie. So both these actions have happened in the past. So here simple past tense will be used. And present perfect tense, I haven't eaten breakfast yet, I'm starving. So I haven't eaten the breakfast. So this is, I am explaining about the past, and still I am starving. So that action has happened in this past, and it is also, it has an effect. Second, I have been waiting here since 10 a.m. So the person is saying that his action of waiting, it started 10 a.m. in the morning, and presently also he is waiting. So here it is very clear that simple past tense is used only when your actions happened in the past and you have to explain that actions, and present perfect is used when the actions started in the past and they also have an effect in the present also. Now how these, or where these tenses will be used in our IELTS. Past tenses are normally used extensively in writing task 1, where the report writing is to be done and describing the trends. So as I've told earlier, if the time duration is of the past times, that is the years have been mentioned, that is less than 2020, there we have to use the past tense. Now let's see an example. Before January and March, the profit rose by 10%. So here the graph may have given of the years, that is less than 2020, and we have to show the trend that the profit rose by 10% in January and March. So here we are explaining the trend that have happened in the past, and they produced twice the amount of cars in June. So in June, that is also somewhere in the past, they produced twice the amount of cars. So these two events have happened in the past, so clearly we have to use the past tense. Now in writing part 2, that is our essay, we can use this past tense like environment has changed a lot since people started using internet every day. So here also the event when the people started using internet, it is an event of the past. So here also we will use the past tense. Now the second grammar rule is using the passive voice. Now let's see. The second rule of grammar is using the passive voice. Now why passive voice is used? It is used because it gives a formal and an impersonal touch. We all know that the writing portion of the IELTS, that is task 1 as well as task 2, here the formal language is required by the examiners, and they only grade you if you have a formal language. No casual language is allowed, and we lose our marks if we use a casual languages. Now let's see with the help of an example. Almost 50% more courses were chosen in the second semester as compared to the first one. So this is the passive voice where word chosen is used to make it in the passive form. Now where it is used in IELTS? It is used both in task 1 as well as in task 2. Now task 1, we have already told that there are graphs and figures where we have to report what is mentioned or what is illustrated in the figures, and their formal language is advisable. The first example is, as can be seen from the figures, the number of first year students decreased dramatically in the last 5 years. So this was a survey that was held, and this was the thing that were reported. And here the passive voice makes it more formal. And second is, as is shown in the diagram, there was a marked increase in the number of students driving their own cars to school. Now some students will write it like, the diagram shows the marked increase in the number of students driving their own cars to school. Now this is also right, but it is not a formal language. So to make it more formal, we have to convert it into passive form, and it should be like as is shown in the diagram. So this will get you good marks and will help you getting good bands. Now second is task 2. Here also the example is, more research needs to be done before choosing a certain supplier. So here also the formal language gives you good marks or good bands. So using a passive voice is always the best thing to do in the writing part. Another important the form of grammar is the use of modal verbs, and the modal verbs we are going to discuss today is can, could, may, might and must. Now they seem really confusing, but I have tried to put in a lot of examples so that you'll be able to understand it properly. The first modal verb is can. Now, can is a possible statement or a permission or a suggestion. When we have to use either of these three things, then we have to use can. Now, let's see how the ability is used to describe, for describing an ability, can is used. Now, for example is I can dance. So, where you have to you can describe your ability, that I can do this, I can do dancing, I can do swimming, I can do this work. Here, where the ability have to be described, there can is used. Now, she can sing. This is another example. Now, it is also used when we have to take permissions, like can I sit here? Can we leave now? So, here also this modal verb is used. And similarly for suggestions, you can go wherever you want to go, or can I have a bill? So here we are giving a suggestion to the person, and in all these situations this modal verb is used. Now, could is the past ability. This is the main difference between can and could. Now let's see with the examples when we have to describe the ability and the past ability, then how we can use could. I could run several miles when I was a kid. So here this is the ability of a person, but he has described his ability when he was a kid. So we are explaining the ability in the past forms. When we have to describe our ability that we have in the past, then could is used. Similarly for permission, you could sit here if you like, and the possibility, could this really be true? So this is all these situations that is there in the past, and in all these situations the modal verb could is used. Now let's see the difference between may, might and must. Sometimes it is little confusing to understand that where can should be used, where must should be used, and where may is used, and what is the difference between may and might. So I hope these examples will make it clear. Now the first one is may. May is used for when we have to take a formal permission, like may I come in, or it may rain in the evening. So there's a possibility that it may rain in the evening. We're not sure about it. And might is the past tense of may. Like she might have stayed in the studio for making a video. So this is not we're talking about the present. We are talking like she's not here, so she might have stayed in her studio. So that is why she's not here. So this is something the past tense of may. Now next is must. Now must is used when we are very sure of something and we want to express the necessity. Like you must be tired after the long journey. So like I'm very sure, I'm pretty much sure that you must be tired after the long journey, or every car must have a seat belt. So here this necessity or like a little sense of surety is there when we use must. Now I'll give you one example which will make you clear about all these three modal verbs. Now let's imagine a situation where I'm in a meeting and one of my employees, maybe Sarah, she's not present, and I ask like, where is Sarah? Then I get three different answers from my employees. Like the first one says she may be making a video in her studio. So this is a possibility that the first person is like having. And the second one says she might have stayed home. And the third one says she called me to say that she's doing an interview at some school, so she must be still working there. So in the third person is a little sure that she called him to say that she's doing an interview and she must be there. So in all these three different sentences, we I hope these three sentences will make you clear about the differences between may, might and must. Now why these modal verbs are useful in IELTS, where they are used. They are used in reading and in listening. By understanding the differences between the modal verbs, we are able to comprehend the sentences and we are able to take out the correct answers. So if your understanding of the grammar is good, then you can really comprehend and find out your ability to extract the correct answers will increase. And the second part is speaking part third. Now let's see these with an example. This can't be your phone. I know you had a different ringtone. It can't be Donna at the door. She called to say she's sick. They might have changed their plans, but they haven't said anything to me. So here the negative form of can and might have been used. Now in speaking part 3, the examiner asks you questions that involve generalizations and comprehending certain situations. So in these situations, these modal verbs are used. Now the fourth type of the grammar is the definite article. Now the definite article the is used at several places. Now let's see the examples. The gift they brought was a bit inappropriate. So we know that the gift the speaker is talking about, it is the speaker is asking, this telling about a particular gift. So the will be used to specify that particular gift. Or this is the best movie that I have seen. So the is also used when we have to use these superlatives. The best movie. And also when we are using an ordinal number, the first, the second, the third. Now the example is, this is the second time I have met him today. So here also the is used. Or when we have to mention a particular country, the Czech Republic is one of my favorite country in Europe. So in all these situations, this definite article the is used, which is very important in IELTS. Now where it is used in the IELTS, it is used in speaking as well as in writing task. Now the fifth one are the adjectives. Now adjectives are basically used to describe the people and the places and the things. Now let's see, we moved to a safer place. So how the place was, it was a safer place, and this is the safest place in the city. Now here the third form of the verb is used because we are comparing it that this is the safest place in the city. This is the most delicious dish I have ever tasted. She looks more beautiful than I expected. So here these different forms of adjectives are used to express the things. And where the adjectives are used, they are also mainly used in speaking and writing. Like in speaking, when we have to describe a person, you have to describe your favorite person or the best dish you have ever tasted, or you have to express the qualities of the people or the qualities of the things, the tallest building, like the safest place, the delicious dish, the most renowned person of the city. So here the adjectives are mostly used, so we should know how to use them effectively. Now the sixth important thing that we have to take care is we have to watch out for the frequent spelling mistakes, because the spelling mistakes will also take out your marks in the writing as well as in the reading section also, because in the reading we have to find out the correct answers, and similarly in the listening you have to listen properly, you have to listen to the spellings. In some of the answers the audio gives you the spellings also, so you should listen it properly and you should write it properly, because if your spellings are wrong in writing, in reading and in listening, then your answer will be wrong. You will not get any marks for your bad spellings. So this is important thing which the student should take care of. So overall I want to say that grammar is really important. So these 6 grammar rules are very important. If the students understand these 6 grammar rules and they will practice it on a daily basis and they learn to use it effectively and correctly in their modules, then I think they'll be able to easily get band 6 and above.